Being well-dressed is about more than building your closet and coordinating outfits. Sometimes it requires hard skills. Sadly, many things that every man used to know how to do are now increasingly rare knowledge. Without the right skills, you'll never fulfill your potential in the sartorial department. Luckily, these 6 things are all very easy for a man to learn. In most cases, they require no tools or few tools, and just a few minutes of practice. So let's get started with number 1. Whether you're a fan of the tie or not, you're going to wear one at least a few times in your life. And when you do wear one, it's going to be for some of the biggest and most important occasions of your life, where it's more important than ever to look and feel good. Considering how casual society has become, it's no surprise that some men don't know how to tie a tie, especially if wearing one wasn't part of their school uniform. And although I hated my school tie, at least the 4-in-hand knot has been ingrained in my brain forever. You never want to wear those clip-on ties because they look artificial and cheap. Besides, you'd be missing out on the sense of pride that comes from tying your own tie. There is a confusing myriad of ways to tie a tie, which is enjoyable for some, but a confusing nightmare to most. The 4-in-hand is an incredibly easy and versatile knot, and if that's the only one that you know, that's okay. One way you can separate yourself as a truly stylish man is by always adding a dimple. To achieve this, pinch the tie at the top as you tighten it. If you want to take your style skills to the next level, you can learn how to tie a bow tie. Although as somebody who only wears a bow tie every few years, I've always forgotten how to do it by the time I have to do one again. It's shocking how many men don't own an iron. When I've stayed at friends' houses or at Airbnbs, often I've needed an iron and they simply don't have one. But nothing says I can't take care of myself like wearing creased and wrinkled clothes. And every man needs to have moved on from his mother doing his ironing. If you don't own one already, invest in an iron with a variable temperature control and a sturdy ironing board. Before you get started, check the care label of the garment to see what the fabric is. Dress shirts will normally be made of cotton, which can withstand the highest temperature setting on your iron. If the shirt is made from an artificial, perhaps a performance fabric, it might need a lower temperature. There is no need to overcomplicate the method of ironing a dress shirt. Simply gently run the iron over the shirt, working one section at a time. At first, you might find that you're ironing in more creases than you're ironing out, but this is a normal beginner's mistake, and it might take a few shirts to really get the hang of it. How to tastefully match a tie with a pocket square is just as much of an art as it is a skill. The most important thing to know is that the two should never match exactly. What makes this even more confusing for a guy who's trying to figure things out is that many stores will sell them in a matching set. But just as with the clip-on tie, there is a whole section of the fashion industry that caters to men who simply don't know better. Instead of falling for this trap, slowly build your own collection of ties and pocket squares that you can mix and match. As a general rule of thumb, you want to introduce some element of similarity between the two. For example, in this outfit, my tie has a dominant tone of red, so I chose this pocket square for its subtle elements of red. But the different colors in the pocket square and the fact that it's a different pattern to the tie means they don't match too closely. You could also keep things simple by wearing a white linen pocket square in a presidential fold anytime you're wearing a white dress shirt. And basing your necktie collection around solid colors and simple patterns will give you an easier time creating effective matches with your pocket squares as a beginner. In a world where most men wear sneakers 7 days a week, the art of shining your shoes has sadly been forgotten. But your dress shoes deserve to look their best, whether you wear them every day or just a few times a year. To shine your shoes properly, you'll need a few things. First, remove any surface dirt using a damp cloth. Next, take a tin of cream polish in a color that matches the leather of your shoes. Apply the polish using a cotton chamois cloth, working it in gently. Then give the leather a few minutes to absorb the nutrients of the polish. After that, it's time to buff it off with a horsehair brush. And it's wise to have one brush for brown shoes and one brush for black shoes so that there is no mixing between the polishes. Use strong, brisk strokes with the brush to create a powerful shine. If you want to see your reflection in the shoes, you could take things a step further with a hard wax. Apply it in the same way you did the polish before buffing it off again. Although you can take a button to the alterations person at your dry cleaners, rarely do buttons fall off at a convenient time. No, they fall off when we're about to do that big presentation or we're on our way to the wedding. Sometimes they fall off when we're out and about, without us even noticing. So it's best to be prepared for the unexpected by knowing how to sew a button back on yourself. I recommend carrying a small sewing kit in your DOP bag when you travel. In this, you want a couple of needles, a small pair of scissors, and a few threads in different colors like navy, grey, light blue, and white. As for the buttons, keep a small selection of generic buttons in there, and with my jackets, I always leave the spare buttons in the inside pockets. Sewing on the button itself is not that hard to learn. Honestly, getting the thread through the needle is the biggest challenge. But once you have this skill under your belt, you'll never sweat it when a button falls off again. Out of all of the items on this list, how to roll up your sleeves might seem the most basic. But there's a difference between just getting the job done with some disorganized scrunching and doing it in a way that looks elegant and put together. There are a few different methods, but I have a clear favorite. First, take your cuff and unbutton it here. Some shirts might have a placket button around here. In this case, I would leave this one done up. Then fold this cuff back on itself once. Then do the same again, but with the second fold going back over the first one. Not only is this quick and easy, but it shows just the right amount of forearm. And rolling up your sleeves is about more than just practicality. Women love to see your forearms. So being able to do this the correct way will give you the added confidence to roll up your sleeves whenever you feel like it. Personally, I roll up the sleeves of my shirt anytime I'm not wearing a jacket. And then with this roll, it's incredibly easy to roll it back down when I want to put the jacket back on. Gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed learning about these important sartorial skills. Although they've been forgotten by many, they are essential for a well-dressed man. I want to hear from you in the comments. How old were you when you learned to tie a tie? I remember I must have been about 9 years old and my dad showed me because I was about to go to a new school where it was a required part of the uniform. I would love to hear your memories and hopefully they are happy ones. Until tomorrow's video, how about checking out the 5 everyday carry items that a gentleman always has. These items have been long forgotten by most men, even more so than the skills in this video. So don't miss out on the chance to be a well-prepared gentleman by carrying these 5 things. Thank you for watching guys, and I'll speak with you down in the comments.